What's up, you guys? It's TJ again here today, and I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the power of your perspective, okay? One of my favorite quotes of all time by a man named Dyer is, when you change how you look at things, the things you look at change. Now, basically what that's saying is, how you perceive a certain person or event creates your experience of that person or event. If I am constantly focused on the negatives of a certain person, they may annoy me, they may frustrate me, they may be not trustworthy, they may be lazy, whatever you can think of, right? Think of whatever you are thinking about them. That's what your experience of that person will be. But in the same way, that same person may be caring, funny, positive. They might be beautiful, whatever it is. Those qualities still exist in that person, but because you are thinking about them in a certain light, you are not able to experience that side of that person because your perception is this way, okay? So let's think about it in terms of a relationship. It could be with your significant other, it could be with a boss, a family member, a friend, whatever it is. Let's say they just annoy you like crazy, and so you never want to go see that person. You are just like, dude, they're coming over tonight, or I gotta go to the gym and see this person. Oh my gosh, like they get me so built up, I just can't stand them, right? Well, what if instead of always seeing them in the annoying light, that's not to say that they won't necessarily still annoy you. You may not be able to change that. I should say right away. You can always kind of help yourself learn how to feel things in a different way, but you may not be able to get them to stop annoying you right away, but you can change how you're looking at them. So even if they're kind of annoying, you can say, he's still a really good dude, or she's still really, really sweet. She's still really, really caring for everyone around her, but she does still kind of annoy me. You don't gotta lie. You don't gotta try to act like it's not there, but you can just change your perception of that person and start focusing on the good things, the positive that you enjoy about that person, right? It's the same in a relationship. If we are constantly focused on the things that our partner does that we absolutely just can't stand, that just drive us crazy, eventually that relationship is going to be driven into the ground, right? Not because the qualities that you love about that person changed, but because you got familiar with those negative qualities and you started to just focus on those. Well, then eventually you kind of just cut yourself off from being able to see those positive qualities. That doesn't mean they don't exist. That doesn't mean you couldn't flip yourself to go back to focusing on those positive qualities. But because you were exposed to the negative that may not have been so evident at the beginning of the relationship, you have stopped focusing on what you love about that person. So it could be the same for, we'll say, training, since that's what I do for a living. There's certain things that you do when you train that if you're not looking at them in a certain way, they're going to be hard to accomplish. They're going to be hard to push through because they're physically taxing on the body. It's not easy. But when you do them with the right mindset, they become much more easy to accomplish. So for example, basketball players and conditioning. Now, I'm not a big fan of traditional down and back or suicide running. There's a lot of different ways to get in way better conditioning for basketball, but that's a whole nother story. We'll get into that on a video on my training page. That's not what we're here for. But conditioning for basketball is not very easy. It can be extremely hard. It can push you to your limits at times. But if you are looking at it with the understanding of what it will do for you in the long run, of how much easier the games will be because you're in shape, you're gonna knock out those sprints or slides or back pedals or jumps or whatever it is that you're doing to condition. You're gonna knock them out a little bit easier because you're focused on the positive that will come from it, as opposed to being focused on what a lot of my kids nowadays are, which is how bad it hurts in the moment or how tired I am right now, right? Your perspective is limited to a certain event, and how you're perceiving it is negative, so you feel like it's just terrible. You just feel like it's just not worth doing almost. But when you flip that perspective, it's not a different event. It's not a different person. If we're talking about relationships, it's the same exact person, same exact event. But because I chose to look at it differently, my whole world changed. Everything that I was doing, everything that I was thinking is now completely different, and I basically stepped into another timeline because I'm looking at a positive as opposed to what I was looking at, which is a negative, right? So that's kind of just the short spiel I wanted to give on it, but understand that your perception, how you look at things, will ultimately create your experience of those things. If I can find a way every single moment, every single day, to look at the best in people, to understand that whatever trials and tribulations I may have are going to set me up in the future for something even greater, because I'll learn a lesson from it. If I can just think about training hard and eating healthy will benefit me not only in the long run, but it will also help me live a better life right now, then maybe putting that junk food down, putting that Coke down, putting that fried food down may get a little bit easier, because I've simply changed my perspective and am looking at things in a different light. As always, if you guys have any questions about what I'm talking about, feel free to drop it in the comments, feel free to DM me, feel free to ask for my number. I would love to discuss these type of things with more people. This is something that I'm extremely passionate about. That's why I started this YouTube channel. As always, please like and subscribe if you feel inclined to do so. I love you guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.